But
Okay.
we move on to something just as heartwarming, just as nice. We move on to The Frontier Lord Begins with Zero Subjects, Episode 3. And it starts with Klaus practicing with his spear, and he narrates it's been 10 days since he came to stay with Diaz, and he's glad that he did, and Diaz helped him build his own yurt and gave him a weapon and armor made of earth dragon materials. Cuts to inside the yurt, and Alna made some black ghee chops for lunch. And he's like, holy shit, Alna, you'll be a sick wife, right, Diaz? Hey. And Diaz chokes on his chops. And Alna is like, oh, you flatterer, Klaus. Here, have some more chops. Diaz is like, Klaus, you don't have to call me Lord. And Klaus is like, no, I call you Lord. I have to make our positions clear. Francis is like, yo, we contribute to the herd by providing wool, so don't fuck up, Klaus. And Klaus is like, you right, Francis. I'll live up to your expectations. At least that's what I think Francis said. Again, my bar is pretty rusty.
I think Francis just said dicks really loud. And then, but again, my bar is really rusty.
Yeah, I mean, that could just maybe be a dialect misunderstanding there.
Yeah, maybe it's probably something to do with his original accent.
Yeah, that heavy bar accent he has. But Alna's horn glows green and something is coming from the east. 12 humans, and one of them appears to be on the verge of death. Klaus is like, we rollin'? And Diaz says he'll go with the bars and Alna, and Klaus can hold down the fort. And if it's dangerous, he'll send them back, and Klaus has to protect them. And then Diaz and Alna engage cloaking device.
Just Ghost in the Shell now.
Or Star Trek, one of the two.
Yeah, right.
Klaus narrates that the magic is sick, and the kingdom is to the east. And the 5 princesses and princes are in a succession dispute. And the reason Diaz didn't get his reward from war was because the second prince took it. He continues and thinks even kingdom disputes can be felt all the way out in the frontier. And he'll fight for Diaz. But Diaz comes back, and it's a bunch of elderly ladies, and they were driven out due to a rebellion in a neighboring domain. And they pushed out all the old women so there would be fewer mouths to feed. And Klaus is like, it was probably the Kazdek's domain. He said they passed through it on his way to Diaz, and they aren't doing too hot, and it has some scenes of captured demi-human beast people. Diaz said the old lady leader, Maya, used her fortune-telling skills to help them survive, and that's how they ended up here. And Diaz is like, fucking sick. Now we have 12 more subjects. Diaz is like, time to build some fucking yurts. And Klaus is like, wait, man, they're just refugees, and they can't contribute much. But Diaz is like, can you believe they're all over 70? And Maya is 90. Fucking crazy. Alna and the bars are like, yeah, man, Diaz is the alpha. Let's listen to him. And Klaus is like, yeah, you're fucking right. Diaz has always been like this. And he is a flashback to wartime, and the kingdom abandoned civilians. But Diaz rolls up and saves a crying child, and him and Klaus fight off all the enemy soldiers. And then we have a domain report, and there's 5 residential yurts, 1 meeting yurt.
Right, real quick. Whenever you see the word domain now, do you just think domain expansion?
I had to stop for a second and think of the correct word that wasn't domain expansion.
JJK has inserted itself into all walks of life for me.
Yeah, JJK hacked
Whenever
our
I watch
cyber
the show,
brains and replaced any
in my
word
ghost,
with domain into domain expansion.
Yeah, full bust.
1 meeting yurt, 2 storehouse yurts, a bar pen, a bathroom, and a well. The old ladies said they'll spin the bar wool to make cloth. And Diaz is like, sick. Well, what should we call this place? I was going to upgrade to a village now that we got all these people. And they're like, what about Diaz fucking manly ass village? Or manly ass dragon slayer dragon fucking village? And Alna is like, what about Iluk village? It means first village in ancient tongue. And everyone is like, yeah, that's pretty sick. Maya is like, well, If you want more subjects, you can sell the dragon materials and buy slaves. And Diaz says he hates slavery and saw enslaved soldiers on the battlefield, and they were all treated poorly. And he intends to prohibit slavery in his domain.
Do you see how this guy's like smiling? He's like, dude, sweet release.
Yeah, he's like, man, I've wanted this for so long. An arrow to the knee and to the chest.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But Maya says she doesn't like slaves either and wanted to know Diaz's true feelings. And in Kazdex, the Lord and his son enjoy hunting slaves. And his second son has a huge slave harem. Alna says a traveling merchant stops by the Onikin village occasionally, so he's going to stop by their village. And it's a frogman with some bear soldiers. His name
fucking sick
is Pajin Do. And he's like, oh shit, it's the Dragon Slayer, holla. And he's like, let's do some business. And pats his fanny pack. Diaz sees that Alna's horn is white, so it means they aren't hostile. And Diaz brings out a scale and they're like, holy shit, did you really kill that thing on your own? And Diaz is like, he wants to make sure that I'm not lying. So he cuts the scale in half and they're like, fuck man, okay, let's trade. He brings out some shit, but then also brings out a t-shirt from it-aesthetics.com where he was going to give Diaz 10% off using the promo code TABC10 at checkout, or $5 off of any other deals that Frogman had going on at the time. And you can get a t-shirt like Diaz, a t-shirt like DJ Montague, or a t-shirt like the one that I am wearing right now.
Wait, Greg, when you go up there, move to your right. Like where the chair is. There you go. Now we see it on stream. Dude, damn, Greg, you been working out?
Nope. But you too can go to...
Nope, I just naturally look like Diaz.
You too can go to
Genetics,
IT...
bitch. Sorry.
You can go to it-aesthetics.com and use promo code TABC10 at checkout, or TABC5 for 10% or $5 off of your order. But no, Pajin Do didn't bring out a t-shirt from it-aesthetics.com. He brought out a pair of twin slaves that they couldn't sell in the Beastkin Nation. And Diaz gets mad because he thinks they're selling slaves. But Maya and Alna calm him down. Frogman says he doesn't sell slaves, and if he didn't take them, then they would be dead. And the village they were born in hate twins and said they would bring calamity. Daemons of the Shadow Realm, anybody? And we're going to execute them. So the parents ran, but then the parents died. And Alna says the twins are a strong blue. Diaz takes the girls and he tries his best to talk to them, but they're quiet. And he's like, well, I can give you guys names. And they're like, no new names. And he's like, sweet, okay, well, what are your names? And they say Senai and Ihan. But then Alna is like, oh shit. She has an oh shit look. The girls take them to go take a bath. And Klaus is like, you good with kids, Diaz? And he said at the orphanage, he was like the kid's father figure. The girls get back and Alna gives them each a necklace and says, Senai means one who is beautiful like the moon, and Ihan means the holy moon, and their parents must have had an attachment to the moon, and the necklaces she gave them are said to have the powers of the moon hidden within them. Oh, and then I have a note that says Senai has the full moon and Ihan has the half moon. So that's how we distinguish who they are, because they're twins. But Francis and Francois help comfort the kids, and Diaz asks Alna what this ancient language is. And she says no one uses it anymore except Onikin. And the girls aren't human, so maybe their people had contact with Onikin at some point. 10 days later, the girls seem to be adjusting well and eating each other's potatoes, but Alna gets a green horn and someone else has arrived. A lone human and a horse from the east. Diaz goes to investigate, and it's an old dude named Camelot Z, and he serves Eldon Kazdex, the new Lord of Kazdex. And Eldon wants an audience with Diaz, and he's on his way right now. And Diaz gets mad and says he'll meet him right fucking here, and he isn't going to let some rebellion second son harem dude near his village. And then Eldon rolls up on a parade float with a bunch of ladies. And then that's how episode 3 ends.
The lady in the front is purple with purple eyes.
I think it's one of the guards.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we can see in this picture, if you look at the first girl to the back right of Eldon, they're a little different from humans.
Yeah, they're all, he doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, so we learn a lot more about Eldon and his little harem thing he's got going on here next episode. So they don't leave us hanging too long.
Good. All right. Well, do you have more that you want to say about Frontier Lord?
No, not really. I mean, it's
there.
It's doing its thing.
Fine.
It's doing its thing. I mean, it's just
this episode wasn't creepy or as creepy.
No. And I still feel like that Alna isn't as young as they say, because she's talking about ancient languages. She's talking about, other species that like Diaz
Greg,
knows nothing
change.
about. And I'm pretty sure
Doesn't change that the writer did the thing.
I'm pretty sure Alna is like 150 and Diaz is 35.
Yeah. When they probably measure it, in how many tens of revolutions around the sun they have or whatever. And I'm still annoyed, and it's still annoying as fuck.
It's okay. I'm not going to take that away from you or say it's wrong, because it's not.
Okay.